True Love Training. And we're so fortunate to have a highly experienced teacher. And she's going to be sharing with us not only the content of the program, but the content of how the program is being introduced and how it works with young people and works in the community, and even as it works with parents and teachers. So we'll be able to inherit her tremendous experience of 30 years in training this. So
10 countries.
In 10 countries, that's right. So this is really an honor, and we're grateful. And Miss Linda, please take over.
Thank you. Actually, it's really an honor for me to be sharing this with everybody, because it's, it's personally empowering for people who present this program. It's not that you're just giving information to somebody else. It's really information for all of us. I had teachers telling me, oh, I was going out tonight. I'm not going out. I'm going to, stay home, I think, think about things. Because, yeah, it's just very interesting, because everybody, again, we just want to be happy. And with the social media and a lot of the things what people say will make us happy, plastic surgery, having lots of money, the right clothes, the right car, the right mate, it's just leading to more unhappiness because people haven't found how to be happy with themselves. So again, good health is just as much about what we don't do as what we do. And same in relationships. It's just as much about what we avoid, what we don't do, as what we do. So when we left off last time, we were talking about the STDs, the diseases and stuff. And this is human papillomavirus was our last slide. This is the most common STD in the entire world. It's spread through skin-to-skin contact. Condoms may partially reduce your risk, but they don't protect you. When I first started giving this in Jersey City, which was a very high-risk area because it had the highest rate of HIV per capita in all of America, I love the kids there. The schools are amazing. The teachers are so dedicated. They're so amazing on many levels. But the kids, even the sixth grade, all they heard was protected sex, jimmy up, wear a condom, practice safe sex. It's almost like a mantra. And they were never really told the facts. And I would say, will a condom protect your heart when that person dumps you for a better deal? The room always gets very quiet. So 1 out of 4 females ages 14 to 59 is infected. Normally we would call that an epidemic, but people don't want to talk this way. 90% of genital cancers, penile. What's penile? That's penis, right? And cervical cancer, that's in the female, penis in the guy. Some strains cause genital warts and some cause cancer. Teenage girls, ladies, can you say 200? 200? Teenage girls have a 200% higher rate of cervical cancer as adults. And that's if they're having sexual relationships. Like when we get a pap smear, I only maybe discovered 10 years ago, I'm almost 75. I only learned like maybe 10 years ago that it was for cervical cancer, that it's caused by HPV and STD. So they just assume everybody's sexually active with multiple partners. So, we really want to talk about these things before they have where I was teaching, the kids thought oral sex, that's penis, genitals to mouth, was safe sex. You couldn't get pregnant, you can't get an STD, and you're still a virgin, and I always tell them one thing leads to another. I don't know if you'll feel like a virgin, after a while. And also, still, any STD you can get from the genitals, you can get in your mouth through oral sex, skin-to-skin contact, there's body fluids. But besides that, there's so much of an emotional impact with oral sex for males and for females. Many girls are tricked into believing oral sex hookups are a way to avoid STDs. They really did. I mean, when I would speak to young people, even middle school, having a kiss on lips, just a little kiss, was more intimate than doing oral sex. Think about it in your adult mind. Just a kiss on the lips, a brief kiss on the lips was more intimate than even oral sex. Oral sex was like not a big deal. So how do they feel when they have an STD in their throat? The STI, this is kind of the PC way of saying sexually transmitted infection. No matter how you want to spin it, it's a disease. It's not an infection like you just put a little Bactine on it. It's a disease, you know. So some assume that they're going to be more popular after engaging in sex. I always say they may want to do you, they just don't want to marry you. And they know that this is true. And the guys, I said, would you have any problem with your daughter having, you know, doing oral sex with boys on the block? You know, they won't get STDs, they can't get pregnant. Would that be okay with you? And they say no. they get very upset. And so again, like I said before, I try to help young guys say every young lady is some other man's daughter. You know, every young lady is some other man's daughter. So, you know, treat ladies how you would want people to treat your future daughter, right? STDs can be spread through vaginal sex. Usually before I get into this, I ask a student, can you read this? Having sex is any activity between two people involving contact with the genitals, that's your vaginal area, your penis area, for the purpose of sexual arousal. You know, even sometimes like, you know, I'll put my hand, you know, over, you know, that area so they know, you know, it's just, you know, not cupping like he's doing or something, but then they know genitals for the purpose. And why? Because I started developing the vernacular that the kids use on the street for different things, because when I said ejaculation, they thought that was another word for abortion. So the whole message is just like go overboard, you know. So that's why I'll even ask them, what is vaginal sex? It's penis in the vagina. What is anal sex? Anal sex has become a national pastime, I tell you. We call it booty infatuation. You know, and they say too, you know, she's still a virgin, can't get pregnant, can't get a disease, till I tell them it's easier to get an STD through anal sex than vaginal sex. Why? Because the lining of the anus inside is very thin material, easy to break and tear, easy for blood, you know. What's the number one carrier of HIV is blood. As far as being pregnant, yes, you could, because I even had a health teacher interrupt me in the middle of my conversation very politely, because she loved the class. And she said, with all due respect, Miss Linda, when usually the girl is bending over, the semen can drip from the anus to the vagina. And she says, I had a 16-year-old girl, she was a virgin and she was pregnant. And she said that was the only sex that she had ever had. So it's really one of the most high-risk sex acts that you can do. And then, of course, STDs can be spread through oral sex. Any activity that could cause body fluids or skin-to-skin contact with the genital area can pass an STD from a person who has it. They can't give it to you if they don't have it. Skin-to-skin contact for HPV and herpes. Those are two extremely common STDs that are caused by skin-to-skin contact. So 35,000, this used to say 10,000. Basically, if just for your only information, 10,000 teenagers a day in the US get an STD. Is that a lot to you or a little? To me, that's a lot. In one of my smarter high schools, one of the girls said, Miss Linda, I Googled it yesterday. There's 42 million teenagers in America. So 10,000 a day, that's not so many. I go, oh, she stumped me. Let me see. So I wrote on the board 10,000. Then I wrote 365 days in the year. I says 3,650,000 per year. Is that a lot to you? And her jaw like hit the table, because she was influencing all the students around. They go, yeah, high five, you know, you stumped the old lady, you know. Oh, she was shocked. So 35,000. No, this is a brand new. I wanted to also mention, for the first 3 years I did this, I did it with my script. I'm sorry, I have no shame. I just, it was a lot for me, and it was totally out of the realm of what I was used to doing, you know. So basically, um, 35,000 teens and young adults ages 15 to 24 are infected with an STD every single day. Now, this group is an official group with the CDC, you know, like there's many age groups. This is an official group that's recognized. So you have the cdc.gov. And basically, with this script, it says, you know, sometimes I'll even say, I'll say, what age group do you think has the most STDs? And I'll say 70 to 80. How about 40 to 60? You know, I'll go down the line and see what they say. And then I'll tell them the age group. And why do you think it's this age? Why not 30 to 40-year-olds? Why not 12 to 15-year-olds? Why? I'm going to ask our participants, why do you think? And this has been forever, it's this age group. Why do you think it's 15 to 24-year-olds have the highest rate of infection?
More partners.
You got it. They're more mobile. They're going to have more partners. If they're sexually active, they're going to have more partners. That is the leading driving force. Even with HIV, people called it a gay disease. It had nothing to do with being gay. It had to do with multiple partners and high-risk sex. So it's kind of interesting. So there were 26 million new STDs infection in 2018 in the United States. About half of these infections, that means 13 million, are in people ages 15 to 24. So that's more than 35,000 per day. So that's really updated statistics. 4 out of 10. So this is a study that was published in the Pediatrics magazine, Pediatrics Journal, I should say. And it showed that 4 out of 10, that's roughly 38% of sexually active girls ages 14 to 19, were infected with one or more of the 5 most prevalent STDs. You know, 100 years ago when I was growing up, we had syphilis and gonorrhea. You get a couple of shots and then you're fine, right? Now, because, you know, sex is no big deal, we have condoms instead of 2 major STDs. We have over 25 major STDs, not including all the strains and families of those STDs. So I think even with HIV, there's about 1,000 strains, maybe more. So chlamydia, gonorrhea, trichomoniasis, herpes, those are, and HPV, human papillomavirus. More women die of cervical cancer every year in this country than die of AIDS. That's how prevalent this is. So again, when you see the slide, you really need the script information. This is supposed to just trigger us. And please don't think that you have to say every word that's in the script. You must be accurate with what you say, but you can also use some of the information in the script if somebody asks you a question so that you have it a little bit more in depth. So,
Linda,
yes.
I'm pretty in shock about that. Those numbers are astounding. And the first thing I think about is like, how do these people get married if they have these diseases?
That's it. You hit the nail on the head. You know, and how, because I met women in the Soviet Union because they were told, just have your husband check out, make sure he doesn't see any outbreaks of herpes. And as long as he doesn't see the outbreaks, it's safe to have sex with your husband. And that's not true. And when she heard our program, she was just so crushed, but she also had an awareness because the herpes virus can shed just before an outbreak occurs and right after an outbreak has healed. So yes, and what if she has in her mouth? You know, and how many people are testing? And you might have it, and then you didn't know it, then your partner has it, you think they gave it to you. Well, it's very easy for the doctor to tell who gave what to who. But yes, this emotional impact of the STDs, you know, like even if you say you're married and then, you know, then you realize you have it, there's still something you worry about because you took the antibiotics, you're clear, passed all the tests, you know. but it still worries you, and then it's kind of a dirty kind of feeling. I apologize to say so, because, it's just easy to get. It's not like you shake hands, you get an STD, or wrestling or something like this. It's usually some form of intimate contact. That's why we're saying at least postpone, because the immature lining of the cervix, much easier for teenage girls to get it, even from single encounter. And again, like we said in the last session, typically when people have, females have sex for the first few times, it's with an older, more experienced partner who's more likely to have STDs. Plus, the older, more experienced, if they're taking advantage of young girls, they don't want to wear condoms. They'll say, if you loved me, you'd let me, I don't have anything. Of course she trusts, because she's young and dumb. Typically, the males usually have a sexual encounter with somebody younger than them, so it's just really sad. So yes, that's a really huge thing. And a lot of these don't have any cure. Most of them do, but some of them can cause permanent damage to your reproductive tract. We wonder why there's so many women early 30s, but they're sterile, like so many I've met. And usually it could be an STD, like chlamydia is called the silent STD, because it can show no symptoms at all, but scar the fallopian tubes, and now the woman can't have children. So also, I wanted to remind you again, anytime somebody asks you a question, you don't have a foolproof answer, you can say, that's a great question, let me get back to you on that. And then, email me or call me, and I'll tell you what the answer is. So I found this on the front page of the Time magazine, sent it to Richard right away. In fact, I was in the Soviet Union and I was in the American Embassy because it was the only place I could find something English to read. And the red spots are girls and the blue spots are boys. Some researchers went to a Midwestern high school, and then they did a survey, anonymous survey with everybody. Tell us who you've had sex with. And each person had a number and stuff, their name and a number, and it was anonymous. And what the researchers found out shocked them. There was 1,000 students, half of them said, I never had sex. From the half that said they were sexually active, those 500 students were related to at least one, if not more, of the other students. A total of 288 of the students, they were linked to somebody else. Like this girl, she only had one sex partner, this boy here. But by having sex, let's say even one time, she's linked to all these other people. And this one may not even be in her same town, but same school, right? And she may not even know their name. So if any of them have an STD, they're all exposed. It doesn't look like it. You'd think, oh, maybe this one. No, even over here. So this is actually a three-dimensional model. We call it they're linked not by affection, but infection. So this chain of 288 one-to-one sexual contacts, even those with one partner were indirectly linked to 286 other. And this is all research. It's in the American Journal of Sociology, 2004. It's just really amazing. It's really amazing. I think the research was actually done even earlier than that, but it was, reevaluated and confirmed. So how to break this chain? This is a lot. Like even I tell them, like here you have the girl between the two boys, and I says like this girl, she had sex with this boy in the 8th grade. Then she came to high school, and now she's fresh meat, so she has sex with one of the seniors. How about if she decided to be a wild teenager and rebellious teenager and says, okay, been there, done that. Yeah, I had sex with this guy in the 8th grade, but I'm going to stop. I'm not going to have sex with those seniors. I'm going to stop and become a secondary virgin. What's a secondary virgin? And most kids don't know. They've never heard. They thought, well, if I've had sex, I got to keep having sex because I had sex before. It means you had sex once, you had sex a dozen times. You decide to wait until you get married. You decide to wait till you're an adult. Is that a healthy choice or unhealthy? And the kids yell, healthy. Is that a smart choice or a dumb choice? That's smart. Is that easy or not easy? And they go, that's not easy. I go, yes, anything worthwhile doing in life, it's probably not easy, but it's a smart, it's the healthy thing to do. Or look at this boy. This boy only had sex with this one girl, right? So he got linked with all these other people and potentials of having STDs. How about if this boy decided to be a wild and rebellious teenager and says, been there, done that. I'm saving my gift. I'm saving the gift that's never been unwrapped for my wife. And when we get married, I'll rock her world all night long. And the girls say, oh, where can I find somebody like that? And the boys sit up a little straighter. Yeah, I'm a virgin. I'm a virgin. They feel it's cool to be a virgin. It's so lovely. And then what about the sexually active in your high school? Who and how many are they connected to? Do you think they know? No, they have no clue. They have no clue. And so I also explained to them, like, what if this person has HIV? What does this person could have? HIV. If this person has chlamydia, what could they have? Probably chlamydia. So the half that abstained, remember those that said we never had sex, what was their risk? Zero. They don't have it. So this is the most important slide of our entire presentation, because so many people say, oh, but I've only had one partner. I remember in New York, there was a drug dealer, and he used to have sex for drugs with the, school-age kids. If they wanted drugs, he would have sex with them, and turned out he had HIV. So they had to find the 50 people he had sex with and get them tested. Then they had to find the 400 that those 50 had sex with. And again, those were primarily kids, some adults. So this is a couple, Sam and Angel. They really love each other, and they're totally monogamous. They're only having sex with each other. Angel, this is the first time they've ever had sex. They only had sex with Sam, totally monogamous. Now, Sam's a really nice person, but Sam had sex with one other person his entire life, this person here. Then this person had sex with only that guy. That guy had sex with her. She shared drugs with her, and so on and so forth. So if this person has HIV or any of those other STDs that we studied, what might this person have? This person. It seems simple, but it's really, that's how it works. Anytime you have sex with even one person, it's the same as if you're having sex with dozens, maybe hundreds of other ones in regards to STDs. So it's just, something to be aware of, something to think about. And again, I do ask them, how many of you think I'm trying to scare you not to have sex? Rarely do I even get one or two hands up, which I'm a little surprised. I say, how many of you think I'm just trying to create an awareness so you make healthy choices? Pretty much all the hands go up. And I really say that for the teacher, because adults tend to be more afraid than the kids. The kids feel like, well, I'm really glad to know this, whereas the teachers are feeling, oh my God, I better get tested. Or they're thinking, oh, they're scaring my kids. No, they're usually not scared. I mean, look at the movies they watch and the video games. I'm going to scare them. So now we have the Nerf ball activity. This is really a lot of fun. I found these Nerf balls. I might have even got them on Amazon or Century Toy or something like that. And they came in 5 different colors: pink, purple, yellow, green, and orange. So basically, like when you look at your script, it says, you get 3 volunteers. I says, who likes to play games? And I start fooling around with the Nerf balls. Who likes to play games? And then they're all jumping all over each other. So I've kind of gotten to know the kids. So I pick 3, and I ask them to stand as far back as I can, and I go up to them. This is going to be so much fun. This is going to be really great. You're going to love this, And then I have them stand there. Then I totally ignore them the rest of the time. So then I tell the rules to the students. Okay, I'm going to throw these balls out, and you're going to catch them. Depending on how many students it has, whether it's, I say 3 or 4. Once you have 3 of these balls, say I got an orange, a purple, and a yellow. Once you get 3, you have to say somebody's name and throw one of your balls to them. But this is the trick. You have to remember what color you threw to this friend. You can't just throw randomly at people. They have to catch it. So I picked these because highly unlikely they can hurt each other. And I also said you have to sit in your seat. You can't jump up. You can't chase them. You can pick them up off the ground, but you have to remember what color you threw. So then I just start throwing them out. I throw handfuls out. And then they're catching them. They're having so much fun. They just love them. I have them counted beforehand because I want all of them back. Usually, most of the time, I get all of them back. I said, this is great. This is so much fun. So then I tell the, I go and I pretend I have a microphone to the 3 behind me. I said, so we're playing a game with all your friends, you know, you're doing your homework. Your parents won't let you out because it's, you know, after dinner time, you have to do your homework, you have to do your work. All your friends are saying, hey, come out, we're having fun, we're partying, we're having a great time. You should come out. How do you feel? You're here, everybody's ignoring you. And I hold it, they say, I'm angry, I feel lonely, I'm sad. And then I say, okay. So then I ask the kids, how many of you have in your hand, or you threw to somebody else, a pink one? Please stand up. They stand up like they're going to get a prize. I said, lo siento, I'm so sorry. You have herpes. Sit down, and there's no cure. And then I say, how many of you have or threw away the green? Now they're very hesitant to raise their hand. And they stand up. I'm so sorry. You have gonorrhea, but don't worry, there's a cure. It's not very pleasant, but there's a cure. And who has orange or gave away orange? They jump up. Oh, you were doing drugs with your friends. You're addicted to crack. This is going to be a long road for you. And then yellow, oh, I'm sorry, you're going to be a teenage parent. So then I go and I interview my 3 people that are laughing like crazy and behind me. I said, I pretend I got the mic again. I said, now that you see your friends have a bunch of STDs, they're a teenage parent, they're addicted to drugs, and you're going to college, you got straight A's, you're going to make a lot of money in life. How do you feel? I feel so proud. I feel happy. You know, it's so cute and adorable. So all ages love this one. The high school students take it quite hard, but the kids are good with it. We just make it a lot of fun. And then I ask another kid, here's my bag. I have 49 of these. Can you make sure I get all of them back? And I tell everybody, you have to give them back. So what's this? Most kids don't know. They've only seen the package of condoms. They've never seen one that's outside. So, you know, it's a condom. How much protection? You know, we're always hearing practice safe sex. Then they said wear protection. Then now they say practice safer sex. So how much protection does a latex condom give if you use it correctly and every single time? Now in high school, I opened the box of condoms. I had it laminated so it doesn't get worn out because they always want to see it. I was looking for the instructions. There's no instructions. You have to actually tear the box open. It's on the inside. It's not like it's an insert. It's not on the outside. And then if you read the condom, I kind of make this up a little bit. What does it say? It says, warning, read the directions and warning on the carton you threw away last night. So you see, it's got pictures about a piece of equipment you've known your entire life how to put this on. And it says the moment the penis is erect and outside the clothes, you only unzip the jeans, the soldier's standing to attention, you put on the condom. Who does that? David, have you ever heard any guy say that he does this? Follows those instructions? I've never met one. They think basically, you know, because I'm in the hood mostly, I said, you know, they put it in, pull it out, go around the world, and just before he's ready to get down to business, then he puts on the condom. You have to do it way before then. So how much protection do they give? For teenage girls who are using them correctly, 1 out of 5 teenage girls do become pregnant within the first year even though they use condoms. So why do you think this is? And this is from Contraceptive Failures in the United States, from the journal called Contraception. Why do you think 1 out of 5 teenage girls using condoms still get pregnant?
Condom is not good.
It's not necessarily that they're no good, they're just used incorrectly. And also you have immature people, they put it in a few times, and then they think just, before I ejaculate, then I'll put on the condom. That's, you're not even supposed to touch the genitals. So also the lining of the cervix for the girl is very thin, much easier for her to become pregnant than a mature woman, after the age of 22. Condoms, see, always the kids think because they break or fall off. That's only 2 to 4% of the time. And even then it was probably not put on correctly. That's why it broke or slipped off. So basically that's it. Also, they forget to use them. They use them improperly. They're never using, reading the directions. They use oil-based lubricants. I don't get into a lot of the details because some things they're unfamiliar, but just using them incorrectly. It's just like contraceptives. If you don't take your pill every day, if you don't use it correctly, you can get pregnant. So it's basically that. Typically, I give a very brief explanation. I don't gloss over anything. I never sound like I'm nervous about addressing it, even though inside I might go, oh my gosh, they're so young and innocent. When you see their evaluations, they're not so young and innocent. So partial protection against STDs, that's all it is. It's not safe. It's not protection. Nothing's protecting your heart. For people who wear the condoms correctly and every single time, they can reduce their risk against HIV by 80% of the time. Does that sound like it's safe? It reduced their risks. That's about it. Like if you have an 80% chance of getting home alive today, I don't feel so safe. You have a 50% risk reduction if you wear it correctly and every single time for gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes, HPV, and syphilis. All of these have a cure except herpes and HPV. But the thing is, what is the most common sign or symptom that all STDs share? What do you think it is? What's the most common sign or symptom? All STDs have the same sign or symptom. No sign or symptom at all.
Mm-hmm.
The most common sign or symptom for all STDs is no sign or symptom at all. This I usually use as a homework assignment. Richko-san, could you read the slide for me? It's a writing activity.
Imagine you are in your 30th or 40th. Write a letter to a niece or nephew, telling them that you were beginning chemotherapy treatment for
Penile
or genital
cervical
cancer. Genital cancer and
they should just say genital
cervical
cancer, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be easier.
And telling them, looking back, what you realize now and what you wish you had done differently as a teenager.
Very good, thank you. So I do have to explain to what penile is. I mean, most adults haven't heard of penile. We can guess what it is in the context, but it means penis. I usually ask the students. Even I'll ask the students, what's anal sex? And they tell me because they know. Same with penile, it's penis. So they can take, as an assignment. I have in the past, and I could easily email to you, I made a sheet that the teacher or yourselves could copy, and then you can distribute to them, like if you're in the class. And then the next time is a homework. So when you meet, ask 2 or 3 students who could read their letter based on what they know. So it's kind of interesting. I remember this like it was yesterday. The former U.S. Surgeon General Koop, he was the top doctor in America, and he was one of the most hated men in this country. How many of you like to be lied to? How many of you like to be told the truth? Well, he said the same thing. He says, Stop lying. Young people must be told the truth. The best way to avoid AIDS, I don't want number 2 or number 3, I want the best way, is to refrain from sexual activity. Don't have sexual activity until as an adult, they're ready to establish a mutually faithful, I'm only with my husband's only with me, we're mutually faithful, monogamous relationship. The original translation of monogamy means one sexual or love partner in a lifetime, not one this week, one that week, but just one forever. So he said this and people's heads exploded. And they said, no, you have to promote condoms. He said, sorry, I have to take a medical perspective on this. People, because AIDS was a huge thing in the 80s. It was really, really worldwide. It was so big. And in Uganda, this story has special meaning to me because I was at an AIDS conference in Washington, D.C., and I met the president of Uganda's wife. She looked like a queen. She was just so amazing, highly intelligent, highly educated woman. And this is the kind of billboards they did. This young girl, she's so beautiful. And they're saying she's keeping herself from marriage. What about you? They had the highest rate of infection in the entire world for HIV and AIDS. They reduced their total infections by 2/3 using the capital A, capital B, small c system. This is how the president's wife explained it. I saw her at the podium. She says, capital A, abstain from sex until marriage. B is, be faithful to the person you're married to. If you're not married, the person that you're having sex with, be faithful to that one person. And then C, this is what she said, not me, she said small c, if you have no self-control, you just got to have sex today. Don't even think of having sex without a condom. But they totally emphasized the A and the B. The C was, if there's no way you can do A and B, then do C. In Uganda, by practicing this, the proof is in the pudding, right? Uganda HIV infections fell from 15%. If you can imagine if 15% of our population had COVID-19 right now, 15% had HIV, fell from 15% in 1991 down to 5% 10 years later. It's a miracle. In 2001, when they studied and surveyed their youth ages 13 to 16, nearly 60% had said that they had had sex in 1994 when they were surveyed. But in 2001, just 7 years later, less than 5% were, because of this national campaign. It's very interesting. And you can't say, oh, they're lying, because the statistics, people were not getting HIV. They were not dying of AIDS. And when we compare Botswana and Uganda, Botswana has what, maybe 2 or 3 million people, and Uganda has 42 million people, huge. So more likely to get HIV usually. Now, Botswana also is a very poor country. And by the World Health Organization, they said, if you promote condoms, we give your government money. So sure, we want money. Uganda said, keep your money. We want to use something that works for our people. So we're looking again, people ages 15 to 49, not just children. In 1990, about 3% in Botswana, this is Uganda. I always try to point out, the different colors, Botswana, Uganda. So 1990, about 3% of Botswanians had HIV and 15% in Uganda, 1990. Then we look at 2006, 16 years later, Botswana, emphasizing condoms, safe sex, education, their rate went from 3% to 22%, and Uganda's went down. And they were still being criticized. I remember in 2008 or 9, they were really being ridiculed. You must push condoms, you must put, and they kept saying, no, that's not what we want to do. I mean, why would you push condoms when they have such incredible results? 2015, they did another check-in on them. They've been able to keep this rate. Botswana's basic, Uganda's the same, Botswana's about the same. So let's give a big hand to Uganda. Yay! It was so amazing meeting her, I tell you. She's such a powerful woman. You can't even stand close to her. She's just so exuberant. It was beautiful. So, you know, so a lot of times you say, well, Miss Lynn, I'm not going to have sex. I don't have to worry. You know, you might even think, oh, I'm going to save sexual intimacy till later, but somebody at some time is going to try to pressure you to have sex. It may not even be somebody that you're attracted to. It might be a best friend. You know, that your own friends may ridicule you. So we've learned some time-tested refusal skills. Whether somebody's trying to get you to do drugs, because why do people want you to get high? Because misery loves company, number one. Number two, you're kind of not in your right mind. Much easier to influence you to do the wrong thing. So how about if somebody says, yo quiero mucho, I love you, don't you love me? What could you say? So I usually separate the girls from the boys with these sayings. So this is just girls. I'll do the hit line, and then I'll read the line for the girls, and I ask the girls as a class to do a shout out and say it loud. So it said, if you love me, you'd respect me. I don't need to prove my love. So what do they say? And then always the girls say, if you love me, you respect me. I says, ladies, that sounds like maybe try a little harder. You have to have SWA. SWA is like urban for shorties with attitude. That's what they call girls, shorties. So how about if somebody, you're making out with somebody, you're kissing, you're thinking, oh, we're just kissing, it's so nice. And then all of a sudden they try to put the moves on you and you say, what are you doing? And then they say, I can't stop. What could you say? Now, I have to apologize. My boss uses the word aroused. I usually change this to say turned on, because if the kids don't understand what a word is, we always want to elevate their language, but right now we need them to understand the message. So honestly, I changed that to turned on. I don't think you'll be so turned on if I get pregnant and you have to support a baby in high school. That'll kill the mood immediately. How about if your best friend, she says, come on, have a sip. Everybody's doing it. What could you say? Not with me. I'm not everybody. I'm somebody special. And this one, boy, this, if anybody says this to you, run. Come on, you could trust me. I won't tell anybody. I do trust you to stop pressuring me. So men, let's show them how this is done. I want to tell you, the guys do such a strong answer. They yell. They're so assertive. You could just feel the testosterone. You would think to say, no, I'm not going to say no. I want to say yes. They are looking for an excuse to say no. How about if somebody says, you're not having sex, you're still a virgin? What's wrong with you? Nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with you? Come on, you don't know what you're missing. I'm really all that. Yes, I do. I'm missing AIDS, STDs, pregnancy, a ruined future, and baby mama drama. How about this? One of your best friends, now you guys are in high school. He knows you're still a virgin. You're 16 years old. All of the girls loved you. And this guy's really jealous. So he wants to tell everybody you're a virgin so everybody will laugh at you. So in the middle of the hallway, he says, yo, aren't you a man? I said, you just stand your ground, sneakers firmly planted on the ground, and you say in a big voice, yeah, I'm a virgin. I don't have no problem with my sexuality. Maybe you got a problem with your sexuality. Your business is always in my business. I'm saving my gift, the gift that's never been unwrapped for my wife. And when we get married, I'll rock her world all night long. So sex don't prove my manhood. Get out of my face. And this is usually we go through those. And then afterwards, we have these cards. We printed them up, put them on paper, and then I take them to Staples, get them laminated because they just get bent to heck. And like they'll say, try this, you know, you can trust me. Sometimes I do same sex and they'll always say, I'm not gay. I says, this is nothing about being gay. So their best friend says, try this, you know, you can trust me. And then you say to them, I do trust you. I trust you to stop pressuring me. So we do that. So I'll line up the girls and give them cards, and I'll line up the boys and give them cards answering, like the assertive, the challenge line and the no line, I give the same number, and sometimes I do together. Sometimes I do two girls because it's best friends, you know, so it's so they can see a real situation. This is, and I try to prompt them a little bit. I read the card to them. They're standing in two lines, right, in the front of the classroom. I said, okay, so you got to be really, say, try this, you'll like it. And the other ones, you got to be in their face. So I try to prompt them a little bit on the side, just so it's a little bit more. The kids really get into it. They love the acting. So it's good for us. Oh, I don't want much time. I don't want. Okay, we got a few more minutes. So, you know, it's important that people who really make goals for the future tend to be more happy and more successful than people who just go through life. Why do you think that is? Because you have something you're going for. Each evening, I take a Post-it note. I write down what I have to do in the order I have to do it for the next day. As I do it, I cross it off. I always feel I accomplished so much. And plus, it's easy to forget some things. So what we want to do is turn to your book. This is what I would do with the students. I would say, take your workbook out to activity 2. Now I'm going to wave my magic wand. What if you were guaranteed 5 things you would be successful in? We want you to write down those things. Think about, what kind of person do you want to become? Like, what kind of person do you admire? What kind of family do you want to have? What kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of job or career? Because usually kids just focus on education and career. We want them to really think about more the intrinsic. What kind of person do you want to be? How can you find the right one if you haven't become the right one? So, write down 5 goals which you would like to achieve in your lifetime, but there's a problem with magic. You only get these 5 goals. Everything else you're going to fail. So choose wisely. Then when they're done, you know, I walk around and I look at them and I ask them, oh, read me what your goals are, read me. And even if they have 2 or 3, no matter what they put, I go, that's fantastic. That's great. Because the more praise you give the kids, the more participation you'll get. Then it says, now this tough part, right? Each goal takes many steps. Next to each goal, write down 1 step you need to take in order to accomplish this goal. And so, you know, we talk about education, all these things. And then when they're done with that, and I have them share it, you know, out loud in the classroom, we go to activity 3. And I always ask the students to read the instructions whenever there's something written, and with the slides as much as possible too, if it's not too clinical and things like that. But so activity 3, it says, copy the 5 possible future life goals you wrote down in activity 2. So I'm going to take these 5 goals that I wrote down in activity 2. I'm going to write the same goals down here in activity 3, from here down to here. Then over here, what would happen to each goal if you became a teenage parent? You're still in high school, you're 15 or 16, you become a teenage parent. What happens to the goal? Some goals you'll still be able to make, but some of them have to be delayed. But usually kids say, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. So it's kind of interesting. And I always make sure they put their first and last name and their class on the outside of the book. If I'm doing a classroom, I ask the teacher, can they keep their books here, like in a pile? Because if they take them home, they're always going to lose them. And that way, when they're done with their book, there's still some lessons the teacher can do with them, but they can also share it with their parents. These are the things we worked on. So this is a picture of the teenage brain. It's very scientific. What do you think they're trying to tell us here? When I ask the kids this, they say risk-taking, they don't care. Yeah, and basically, I remember an interview with a 23-year-old who did this for a living. He was in all the competitions, 23, he looked like he's 15, but he's 23, and he's proudly saying, I've broken every bone in my body. And I say, yeah, he's laughing about it now. Just wait till he's 35 and he can't get out of bed. So what it's showing too is during adolescence, the part of the brain that are responsible for expressing emotions and for seeking gratification tend to mature sooner. That's why kids will do risky things, or they like being on the social media, or they think, oh, if I'm popular, I'm going to be famous. Usually I'm going to be happy and successful and rich. Usually the opposite is true with the popular kids. So, also the part that oversees careful decision making is not mature. The part of our brain that really thinks of consequences is not fully mature till 25. So that's when we usually say now, we used to say, oh, 21, you're an adult, but brain-wise, it's around 25. As one expert puts it, the teenage brain is often all gas and no brakes. They got a lot of strong emotions, the amygdala, and still developing prefrontal cortex. See, I'm not going to say all those words to the kids unless I'm in the high school or colleges. Yes, I've done college classes as well, but just give them the explanation. So the changes in the brain are hardwired. This is very important, especially with this legalizing marijuana going on. My prevention groups are just going crazy because there's only one reason why these states want to legalize marijuana, because of the tax revenue they think they're going to get from it. In fact, in California, the governor was so upset because he got half as much as what the pot lobbyists were saying to him. And he told his law enforcement, go out on the streets and arrest all the street vendors, because people were buying their pot off the street because it was cheaper than buying it from the government, you know, from the stores and stuff. So, so by age 12, during adolescence, our brain is going through a lot of changes. The gray matter is diminishing, it's going away, as the neural connectors are pruned. Whatever you don't use in your brain while your brain is developing, it gets pruned. How many of you had a lot of fun over the summer, went on vacation, played ball, did a lot of things, but you did no reading, no homework? Then when you start school in September, you go, oh man, this is so boring. Oh, look at the words, too many words. Because the part of your brain that was good with reading or math was pruned because you weren't using it. So because, at age 16, because the brain is still developing, it's very sensitive to drugs. You know, the kids go, oh man, this is amazing, because your brain is very easy to get more high, but we don't realize, yeah, you might feel good in the moment, but it's making changes in your brain, physical changes that you won't be able to undo when you're older. There's parts of your brain that will not develop because of using drugs. And we all know that alcohol is a drug too. So by age 20, the changes that these drugs caused are more likely to stick and become hardwired. That's why people want you to do drugs when you're young. They want you to buy their sneakers while you're young, because they've brain trained you for those unhealthy habits. Same thing if you always do homework. You have a schedule. As soon as I get home from school, do my homework. I do what I'm supposed to do. I do it ahead of time. I don't wait till the day it's due. You've trained your brain to be successful in life. You're going to be a successful employee. You're going to be successful in college because you develop healthy habits. So you can use it to your benefit as well. So what's on this person's brain? Yeah, you got a marijuana leaf. See, I always call a marijuana cigarette, I call it a blunt, and a lighter. So marijuana use causes abnormalities in the brain region. It's called the hippocampus. It's like right around here, involved with memory, attention, decision-making, language, and executive functioning skills. Those are your primary skills. What's really good is you can Google the effects of pot on the teen brain, and you'll see tons of research. Easy to read stuff, easy to read, but it'll help you understand what these words are saying. Weekly or frequent use of marijuana doubles a teenager's risk for depression. Do we need to be more depressed? Anxiety, you know, always nervous. Suicidal thoughts. Is suicide ever a way out of your troubles? No, it's not. Paranoia. What's paranoia? They all know it means being scared all the time, looking around. And schizophrenia. What's schizophrenia? They tend to know what this is too. It means you're hearing or seeing things that are really not there. Seeing or hearing things that really not there. And I remember when I was one of those kids everybody always bullied and picked on. And I remembered I would go to the elementary school after everybody went home, and I'd be smoking my cigarettes, you know, behind the building, and being depressed and wishing I was dead. And I was thinking, oh, if I was dead, you know, I'd be laying in the ground and people throw flowers on me, say, oh, Linda, we miss you. We love you so much. I go, so what? But then I realized after a couple of weeks, no, when you're dead, you're dead. It's really boring. So for whatever reason, I just went back to school, just did the best I could. You know, later on, I ended up running a corporation. I have 3 amazing daughters, married to the man of my dreams. And I get to talk about sex every day and get paid for it. Life is sweet. Do you think I'm glad I didn't kill myself? Yes. Are you glad I didn't kill myself? I go, yes. So funny. So, and also like this has to be corrected here. Usually this part here that's out of sync, when you have the regular slide, you can highlight it and then just put it a smaller font, then it won't run into there. I think maybe I didn't download some font. So binge drinking and drugs cause lasting damage. Now, typically, I always thought of binge drinking, somebody drank all day long or all weekend, you know, like at this Florida, the summer break, the gallon of beer and the hose and drinking the whole day. That's not binge drinking. Binge drinking is 4 drinks in 2 hours. 4 drinks in 2 hours. I think for men it's 5 drinks in 2 hours. For women, it's 4 drinks. What's a drink? A drink is a shot of alcohol, a 10-ounce can of beer, a 6-ounce glass of wine. Okay, that's a drink, not a hurricane or something like this. It can do lasting damage to your brain, to your memory and learning ability. It really fogs you up. Alcohol is you could get drunk one night, and that one night could last 70 years as far as the damage it's done to you. It kills the cells in your hippocampus, blocks the brain to separatist form memories. What happens? I got a basketball hoop here. I put 3/4-inch plywood, super glue, staple gun. Okay, Bergie, 20 free throws. Stand anywhere you want. How many are you going to make with my plywood on there? How many are you going to make? None, right? Like sometimes even I have to go like this, put a piece of paper on there. You know, oh, none. Why? Because I blocked the receptor for the basketball. Same thing with your brain. Go, oh man, I studied this last night. You can't remember because you're getting high. I went to some friends of mine, young people, 32 years old, and he said to his wife, oh, you know, we should invite so-and-so over to watch the game, you know, this weekend. And his wife looked at him with her mouth open. She said, honey, they were here last night. Because he was saying, oh, we haven't seen them in a long time. They were there the night before, but because he was drinking beer all night, he didn't remember they were in his own house watching TV with him. Young guy. 60%, teenage drinking leads to 60% of STDs. How in the world can you get an STD just by drinking alcohol? Come on. Got a little too drunk, got a little crunk, and blamed it on the alcohol. I think that's Kanye West. Yeah, why do people want to encourage you to drink? Because you're not so responsible for your decisions. And some people drink on purpose saying, oh yeah, I can just say I was drunk. It's never a good thing. It's never a good thing. Why is it they always laugh? Oh, I lost my car. I can't remember the car. What did I do last night? You've basically erased your brain. It's all your memories and things like this. It's not a funny thing. It's not a game. 2/3 of domestic violence cases involve alcohol or drug use. 2/3. What's domestic violence? People think it's married people. No, it's also people dating. Even if they don't live with each other, it's called domestic violence. It's couples where one or both are beating each other up. And it involves alcohol or drug use. What does that tell you? That they're not really thinking correctly. So we're getting ready to close up on this issue because I want to stick with our time schedule. Binge drinking. This is a real girl. I remember her, Juanita Gonzalez, beautiful young lady. And she was in high school, 16 years old, a good girl, didn't drink, didn't party, you know, just studied, was thinking about her future. And her friend said, hey, Juanita, ¿qué pasa? We're having a Christmas party at Juanito's house. You're invited. She said, oh, really? And she says, yeah, and those cute college guys are going to be there too. And Juanita said, count me in. So she arrived a little bit late. And she said, oh, I got to get my drink on. Look, everybody's drinking, having a good time. So she drank a little bit too quickly, a little bit too much. She wasn't used to drinking at all. Next thing you know, she's laying there in the corner, shivering, vomiting. And then her friend says, oh my goodness, Juanita, I can't take you anywhere. I'm going to do some, put you on Instagram, put you on TikTok. And then nobody bothered to call 911. Nobody bothered to help her. Why do you think that was? They didn't want to get in trouble. Well, if I call 911, the cops are going to ask what's going on. What happened to Juanita? Yeah, she died. She had hypothermia. That's why she was shivering and shaking. She was vomiting. She couldn't remember anything. She went into a coma, and then she finally stopped breathing. She stopped breathing because it just slowed everything down. So that's called alcohol poisoning. It really doesn't take a lot. So this is the last one. 9 out of 10 adults with alcoholism dependency, it means they can't even get up out of bed without drinking, or they're shaking like this. They drink not to get drunk, but just so they can get through the day. They began drinking at what age? Under the legal age of 21. Why do we have the age 21 for legally drinking? Because your brain can process it better. We lowered the age to 18 in many states. There was so many deaths from alcohol poisoning, driving under the influence. And so that's why every state in America has 21 as the legal age of drinking. So it's just something to think about. If we delay things until we're adults, usually our brain can deal with it, whether it's relationships, whether it's, having a drink, just much easier to process. And we haven't done the permanent damage to our brain that we do when it's still developing. Even relationships. I know so many young adults, they think everybody cheats. I can't trust anybody because they gave their heart to people when they were really too young. So that's going to end today. Give yourselves a great big hand. Yay. Always have the kids clap for themselves. Any questions or clarifications you need? Or
when did Richard Panzer started doing this lecture? Or
I think it was the late 80s he started formulating it. And this was kind of a special thing he had going, and he raised the money himself, all by himself. And I think he made a big poster, and then he told businesses they could have their business card put on the poster. It would be photocopied, and then he would put the poster everywhere, and it was about abstinence, and for $25. So he would do this, and if you want this, then you more money. That's how he started. And then I think he got some business friends to help him out, and it was an HIV and AIDS awareness program. Like when I brought it over to the Soviet Union, that's where I started. It was an HIV and AIDS awareness program. And then it talked a little bit about the STDs as well. And then eventually we said, okay, you're not having sex. Well, what should you do? So it's like getting, relationship intelligence more about. And then we saw, the program was called Free Teens, free of drugs, sex, alcohol. But I was giving it to adults. I was doing colleges. So it says Free Teens. It was kind of weird. So he started calling it relationship intelligence. And I teach grandparents. I go 2.5 years. I taught at a drug rehab center, 758 men. And in other words, they had to go to this program or stay in jail. High school, colleges, Kane University. Whenever there's like, a lot of times schools or different organizations have vendors, what they call them. You do a table and you show your things. So I have the program on a laptop and I play music. That's how I used to that was my hook with the kids. I'd find the popular music. With me, it was mostly hip hop and rap. And I would have it playing when they entered the room. But it would always be somehow music with a positive message. It wasn't just, I want to kill somebody. So
what about prisons?
That was always my goal. So the drug rehab center was like in that direction because they belonged in prison, but they had been released if they would get a job. They had to live in the group home and all that thing, but they were all convicts. It
I
was
imagine you
interesting.
run into people with a lot of remorse. How do you deal with that?
Oh, they do. This gives them a way out, because I said it's never too late to develop healthy habits. And that's, I tell my own story. When I was 25, I said, okay, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I said, no drugs, sex, or alcohol for 1 year. Not for a week, not for a month, a year. Hardcore. And later I found that's a very healthy thing to do. Some people wean themselves, but just to cut everything, which means I also had to move from Southern California to Northern California because I had too many triggers. I had too many acquaintances. And so I moved and just started over. And that's what I did. And it was really weird at first, but it helped to clarify my mind. And I discovered who I was as a person for the first time in my life. So, yeah. So people have remorse. And luckily in that facility, they had plenty of people to deal with it, with all the alphabets after their name. But the program helps people to find answers too. And I do have a lot of students who have a lot of remorse. And that's why even gay or straight, there's a lot of confusion. It just makes everything on a more even playing field when I'm focusing on goals, becoming a good person. I want to be a good friend, learn self-control. And in the prison system, they had a saying, learn to control yourself or somebody will do it for you. But I have a lot of those situations. And I try never to give even my personal opinions are all based on research and the things that I've dealt with kids. So yeah, I would love to do prisons, but it may not be the best place to start, especially as a female, maybe female prison, but they're like,
Yeah, Linda, I wanted to do a prison ministry.
yeah.
And the warden goes, how old are you? I said, oh, my wife's like 45. He goes, no, you got to be 60.
Yeah.
Over
Mhm.
60 as a woman. And you're a good looking woman. Forget it, over 60. And now I'm pretty sure it'd be 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or start in a woman's prison. Not that they
Yeah.
won't hit on you
Not
too.
that women
but
don't hit on you too.
yeah, they will too. But the thing is, they can be like wolves. Their whole lives have been being a predator or a victim. And so you have to have a little bit of street smarts in order to not fall prey to certain things. And usually the prisons can give you a lot of guidance, keep your distance, not a lot of, it depends on your field as far as hugging and all this, because the kids come up and hug me, and usually that's verboten because you're not supposed to touch students. So I don't hug them back. I let them hug me. I'm not going to back off from them. And the teachers are fine because they're there. I'm never alone with students. Because sometimes the teachers used to use that as an excuse. Oh, Miss Linda's here. I'm just going to run out. I'm saying, sorry, I can't. I had my other presenter. She left the classroom. She said, I could see the students, but I'm standing in the hallway till she gets back. So I always let them know ahead of time, I can never be alone with the students because anybody could say anything.
Absolutely.
And plus the teachers know, I'm not going to correct the students. I want the teacher to correct the students. I always say, don't yell at them, don't threaten them. But if they really get out of hand, then I need you to step in and do whatever you usually do. And the only thing I tell students, if you really incessantly talk, which was my only issue is when because they get excited about the program. They're not really ignoring me. They don't realize what they're doing. I said, I won't ask you to leave the room. I will ask you to sit in the back. I don't want you to argue with me. Just sit in the back. You can talk all you want. I don't care. I just don't want you here. If you don't want to pay attention, that's okay. And usually it's been good. I also tell students to take out their notebook and write down 3 things every time we meet, something that was interesting to them, something that they learned new, or something that refreshed their knowledge. But yeah, I think this is wonderful for prisons. In fact, in the Soviet Union, I stole the slides from somebody. They plagiarized our slides, translated them into Russian without our permission, and I stole them back from them. And then I could use it in the school, so I'd have the Russian slides, and I would have my translator. You always have to be careful there too that it's a real translator. And I would speak in English, and then they would give it in Russian. But it's good. But sometimes it's good. I do find that high-risk areas are the most receptive and I'm most comfortable in. But also church groups. They need this information. They need this information. All the time we think, oh, God really wants me to do this. No, he doesn't. For youth ministries, for their kids, for their adult ministries, relationships, and also become a product of the product. That's what I did. I tried to become a product of the product. And we don't tell people what to do. We just talk about consequences. We're there to help them. We want them to be happy and successful in life. So, because when I teach in the urban area, I have 7th grade girls saying, oh, you don't understand, Miss Linda. I can get WIC. I can get SNAP. I'm going to make money if I have a baby. I said, girl, you're only 12 years old. Does your mother know about your life goals? Oh, no, she'll kill me. Do we have the right to throw away our mother's goals and dreams? No, we don't. Every single mother, the adults that I met, they wanted their children to wait until marriage, wait till after college. They wanted them to be successful, because we know that single mothers are the hardest working people in America. But as a teenager, is that what you want? Or do you want to have fun? So it's just a lot of things. So I hone in on their social media. I hone in on I used to listen to hip hop and rap all day so I could understand what was going on. And yeah, find out where your dream is and just give the program. Just give it. I would teach all day, and then the night I would go back, you know, about an hour drive from my place to there. And, you know, don't put yourself in danger. But Rotary clubs, they're always looking for speakers. And then, you know, just pretend you have confidence and people believe you. The program stands on its own. And this is 2 of the brochures we give out. We have this one. My daughter made both of them. This is the one we give the kids. This is the first brochure. This is what the jocks do. They read it. And then they say, Miss Linda, can I have some for my friends, some for my team? And then the teacher, I give both of these. This is more your adult version. Make an impact. Let's make a change. I got the tiny labels. I made the tiny labels I print out. It says schools, parents, adult workshops, Linda Doering, my phone number, and my email address. This little tiny label. That way you don't pay to have it printed and all that stuff. But this is great. It's got kids' testimonies, and they love the colors. You know, my daughter, she knew how to make this. And then, you know, you've got all the ethnicities there. We don't care, gay, straight. We don't care about your sexual identity or your gender preferences and stuff. Who are you as a person? That's what we deal with. Empowering our youth to make healthy choices. So especially like if you read our literature, go to our websites, you learn the language that you want to present. Again, I started doing this in 1993, and I've been to 10 different countries. I've only had like 3 people that had a problem because they get so stuck on language. Oh, you said he and she. So I use gender neutral. I don't have a problem with that. Say they. But if you're gay, you should be able to translate all that. 2 women can't get each other pregnant. So what am I supposed to say? So now it's getting kind of sensitive, but I do use both. I'm not using exclusively that. Sorry. So it's, yeah, but it's exciting. It just stands on its own. Again, to be familiar with the script and even hold the script. I always had a podium. They said, what do you need? I need a screen, electrical outlet within 15 feet, and a podium. And I just had it highlighted, the main key points. Don't ever think you can just read the slide, because the slide is just supposed to be prompts. So here we talk about, you know, before you hit send, you know, it never really dies. We're going to talk about porn next Thursday, my favorite subject. Used to be the average age of a person's first exposure to porn was like 9 or 10. I had a teacher told me it's 7 or 8 now. I know 5-year-olds. Can you imagine? Hardcore porn, not Playboy, but hardcore porn. They can't erase it from their brain. It's like crack in the head. You know, I have so many experiences with guys telling me how they've tried to stop and they can't. I had an 8th grader He was so tormented because his uncle gave him porno magazines. I had a college guy, doesn't even know me. Of course, I talk about this stuff up by the elevator. He comes this close to my face. How can I stop? So it's, and they want to get him addicted at a young age. Same with drugs, because then they've got him for a customer for life. Same with vaping. Vaping was marketed for children. Now they find out, oh, it destroys your lungs. Gee, really? You couldn't figure that one out? So we just give facts by which people can make their own decisions. I tell them very beginning, I have 3 goals. My goals are, when I'm done with you, you can't tell me, your mama, or your teacher that you didn't know, because now you know. That's it. That's it. And kids are happy. They're not sad. They're not afraid. They're so happy. I'm just shocked. I'm an old white woman. They'll see me down the hallway. Oh, Miss Linda, are you coming to my class today? It's so funny. So funny. And it was the same true in the Soviet Union. Every place that I've spoken, it's not me. It's not me. This liberates people. Even teachers. They feel this has helped them. I had a woman in the Soviet Union said, Linda, this is what I showed kids for sex. And it was all these pictures, you know, hand-drawn pictures of sex acts, all different kinds of sex acts. She says, you know what I'm doing with this now? And she threw it in the garbage. She says, I want to teach what you're teaching. So anyway, I want to let you go. But if you ever have questions, my email is in the group email. If you can't find your part 2, Bergie will send it to you, the script. And it has a picture of each slide. It's totally updated. Dr. Panzer just worked fervently on it, updating our slides. So,
Well, we have 4 more sessions
yes.
in this program. So as you watch, you know, think about, you know, does this move your heart? Is this something you want to do? Because as Linda's explained, there's a lot of avenues. The content's really good and proven. The great thing is proven content. So,
Yeah.
And then after we finish these 4 sessions, we're going to be talking more about what to do. And then there's a certification program where you can become certified as a trainer. So we'll talk about that. Probably not next time, maybe the final 2 sessions. And then if you're certified, there's going to be certain things that you can receive, and we'll prepare that all for you.
And plus there's lifetime mentoring for free.
Right. Okay, thank you. Since we're all religious people, would someone like to offer a prayer to end our session tonight?
I will. Our loving Heavenly Father, Father, we thank you so much for this day and for your love. We know more and more so clearly as we grow and mature ourselves how people are thirsting for the real answers in life.
Father.
Heavenly Father, we want to be the road that other people can travel on. We want to be the people who can reach the hand into darkness and bring them into light. They all have an original mind. They have an original heart. They desire happiness. They desire to do what's right and to be good, but now they don't understand what is good, what is right, what is wrong. Father, we just want to help people. We want to serve them in the shoes of a servant and to really have your heart to give them new life and happiness, and that they don't have to go down those dark roads. You've done so much for us, Heavenly Father. We want to bring joy and happiness to you every day, and we want to bring joy and happiness to everybody we meet. We thank you so much for this opportunity to share together and really pray that we can really hang in there and learn how to become the best presenters to just really offer your wisdom. We thank you and pray all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.